Welcome back, everybody. This is Zach with New Angle Sports Talk. Tonight we're going to be recapping the Rockets vs. Warriors Game 2. Highly contested game. Very controversial Game 1. So as usual, the highlights are going to be on the screen as you follow along a little bit. And we'll just jump right in. Before we jump in, though, guys, just a reminder, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And just let me know how you thought the video went at the end of the video. And share the video with your friends. You can hit the little bell for the reminders as well too. So anytime I have a new video out, you can be the first ones to look at it as well too. Thanks for supporting me. I really appreciate it. Now, with that being said, like I said, Game 1, there's no way you didn't know that this was a very controversial game with all the missed calls or the calls that the no calls, whatever you want to call it, whatever side you were on that aspect of Game 1. It was very controversial. It was everywhere on social media, so there's no way that you could have probably missed it. But jumping right into Game 1, the Rockets actually started off the game pretty slow. The Warriors started really strong. The thing with the Rockets is they had a lot of turnovers to start the game, and the Warriors really did a good job as far as getting points off of those turnovers that they get, and also keeping their turnovers down as well too. Now you'll see all throughout the first half, the Rockets hadn't had their own points off of turnovers at all in the first half. So the Warriors really capitalized on that. When they got turnovers, they scored the ball. The Rockets, though, when they got turnovers, they weren't scoring the ball. So they didn't have any points off turnovers, which was a really big story in the first half. Now, just as big of a story was the injuries that happened. Now, in this game, Steph Curry goes to the locker room with a left hand injury. I don't know if it's the hand or the wrist, but we later find out that it was actually a dislocated middle finger. At first, it looked like his hand because what happened is he went up to try to get a rebound. Clinton Capella already had the ball, but it was kind of a freak thing, nothing dirty about it whatsoever. And his hand, or his finger in this case, just kind of got wrapped up with, it looks like Clinton Capella's wrist, and dislocated his middle finger. That does happen within the first 3 to 4 minutes of the game, so it happens pretty quick into the game. But the good thing is it was his non-shooting hand, it was his left hand, so of course he was able to come back into the game and just be Steph Curry on us, really. So now, while we are talking about Steph Curry, I'll just jump forward a little bit in the first quarter. He does still come back in the first quarter. I don't remember the exact time he came back in, but I know it was in the first quarter, like the very end of it. But the thing is, he stayed aggressive. Now, with the injury, again, it was his left hand, so not a shooting hand. But if there's any injuries with your hands or your fingers in this case, it can still throw off your rhythm when you dribble the ball, when you are shooting the ball, that kind of thing as well too. So. But he did kind of spread around his scoring a little bit. He started off shooting threes. You know, that's Steph Curry. He's going to shoot threes. He did shoot some layups because the threes weren't falling initially. He missed 4 3-pointers, but in that range of missing the 3-pointers, he did get a couple of layups. So just trying to get his momentum back, get his confidence back, that kind of thing. But on his 5th attempt from the 3-point range, he did make his first 3. And again, that obviously got him aggressive. That got his confidence up. That got the crowd riled up. And that really carried out through the rest of the game as well, too. I'll just be honest with you. Also, though, Steph Curry wasn't the only player that had actually gotten injured. James Harden did get, I'll say, at first, it didn't look that bad, honestly. And I'll just be honest with you. I know that there's probably some Houston Rockets fans that are watching this and you're rolling your eyes right now. It didn't look that bad. He did go to the locker room, and he was actually there for a lot longer than Steph Curry was in the locker room, because Harden's injury happened like about a minute or two right after Steph's did. But Harden didn't come back until the second quarter. But when he came back, you could see his both of his eyes, both of them, not just one of them, were bloodshot, and there was some kind of scrape on his eyes or something when he got mixed up and he got hit in the face. So I'm glad he was able to come back. Actually, Chris Paul, though, did have a really good run with his teammates then at that point, and really did a good job as far as keeping them in the game, not letting the Warriors get off to too big of a lead. Now, they had always been down. They hadn't led at all in the games. But Chris Paul is a floor general. He knows how to kind of react with the situation whenever James Harden goes down or something like that. James Harden doesn't really have injury issues, but Paul is a vet, so he kind of knows how to react to this kind of situation and making sure that the team stays together even when Harden isn't there. When Harden does come back, though, he gets his first points in the second quarter. He ended up shooting 1 of 4 at that point, and he'd played about 8 minutes. So he played a little bit in the first quarter, like I said, and it took him a few minutes to get rolling in the second quarter. But he does start off the game 1 for 4, and he by halftime, he actually has 12 points. So he kind of gets it rolling, whether it's from the three-point line. He starts off getting layups, so just to kind of get his rhythm. Same thing that kind of Steph Curry did as well, too. His threes weren't knocking down. He had to get some layups, get him going. And James Harden, when he came back, same thing. He got some easy layups, two easier layups. I guess they weren't easy layups, but easier layups. And then eventually the threes started falling from him. But overall, it was a very good half for the Warriors, not really for the Rockets. But the Rockets did have Harden with 12, CP3 had 8, Rivers had 11. Austin Rivers has been a very big part of their team in this playoff run. He's been fantastic in my opinion. Klay Thompson had 13, Iguodala had 10, KD had 12, Steph Curry had 10. So they had a lot of their big-time players kind of, and honestly, I know Rivers isn't maybe a big-time player, but one of the big key players, I'll say it that way. All of them had, got their shots up. They got points in the basket. They got kind of everything rolling for them on their offense. There was one really big discrepancy, though, with the teams. Specifically with turnovers. So the Rockets had 13 turnovers by halftime. The Warriors had only had 4 at that point. There was other things that the Warriors did really good. Like I said, in the first quarter they did a really good job as far as getting points off of turnovers, but also rebounding, and specifically offensive rebounding. If they weren't getting the points in transition off of a turnover, they were probably getting it off of an offensive rebound as well too. So they did a really good job of staying active, that kind of thing as well too, and just putting themselves in the best position to be able to get a W. Now we're going to kind of skip forward to the third quarter a little bit, kind of towards the end. Now there were some big plays in the beginning of the third quarter. Like Kevin Durant came out, hit 3 for 3. He hit a layup, but right before that he hit 2 threes. So he came out really hot. It played really well. But going into about 6:43 left in the third quarter, Curry got his 4th foul. He would sit on the bench for the remainder of the quarter. Draymond Green almost got his 4th foul as well too. He probably should have, but that's okay. He didn't get it. It was technically on Looney. It was a really late call, so it came like Draymond did foul him, but I guess Looney fouled him first, so they gave it to Looney, which is fine. It was just a super late call, so they tried to fix it, I guess, by putting it on Looney instead of Draymond, which it is what it is. But I don't really want to see Draymond Green fouled out either. I don't really want to see Steph Curry fouled out either. But it's just a weird play in my opinion. Now, Draymond Green and Nene did both get double techs at the end of the quarter. I know I'm skipping kind of towards the end here, but I thought it was kind of unnecessary. So Draymond Green and Nene kind of got wrapped up a little bit after a free throw was shot, and it was like the last second or last 2 seconds, whatever, of the third quarter, and they both gave them double technical fouls. I just thought it was really unnecessary. Like, it's playoff basketball. Players can't just get physical with each other. Like, they can't. They weren't like Nene is one of the nicest guys in the world, and I know that Draymond has kind of a record or a reputation of kind of being a little bit too rough or making kind of unnecessary plays. You're going a little bit too far with certain things as well too. But I honestly thought that was just really unnecessary. That gives Draymond Green his 4th tech at that point, and he only needs 3 more in order to get a 1-game suspension. So I said this when we made our brackets, I just don't want to see Draymond Green suspended. I don't want to see Steph Curry injured. I don't want to see James Harden injured. I just want to see the best teams with their best rosters, no injuries. I don't want to see any injuries. I know you can't really wish that, or you can't really like project that, I guess. But if I could wish for a playoffs, a 2019 playoffs, everybody's healthy, and for the most part, it seems like most people are. I know Paul George has some shoulder issues, and there's some things with the Nets as well too with injuries, and and now it looks like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson had some ankle injuries last series, but it seems like they're okay to go ahead and move forward with it. James Harden now has an eye issue, and Steph Curry now has a middle finger that's dislocated on his left hand. So I really don't want to see that. I mean, everybody's still able to play. I just don't want to see excuses for teams who haven't been able to perform or can't get over the hump. I don't want it to come back down to injuries, because I feel like that happens every single year. But anyways, I guess that's my small rant that we have no control over. But anyways, guys, let's just jump into the fourth quarter real quick. The fourth quarter was just as fun as really honestly any of the other quarters as well too. Just to kind of skip ahead a little bit, 5:37, Steph does get his 5th foul. He doesn't end up fouling out, so it doesn't really get to anything more. But I wanted to just mention that because that was kind of a bigger moment as well too. And Steph Curry kind of knew that he fouled them anyways. Clint Capella was going to go up for a dunk, and before he could kind of take off, Steph had kind of held him a little bit. Now, before we go over like the final score and everything, I want to just kind of highlight some key players who did really good in this game. We'll start with Houston for now. James Harden ended with 29. Even with the eye injury, he was still able to put up 29. He did have 6 turnovers. Maybe that was because of his eye and his vision, something like that. I don't know. He shot 9 of 19 from the field goal, 8 of 9 free throws, 3 from 7 from three-point, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. So he didn't have a bad game. Chris Paul did end up with 18 points. A lot of those last couple, like the last 6 or so points, came from like the last like 2 minutes or 3 minutes or so. But he wasn't. I don't know. I just felt like he played 40 minutes. He only has 18 points. I feel like they need more than that in order for them to be in a consistent position to keep on winning. He did shoot 6 of 14 from field goal, so he wasn't super efficient. Eric Gordon did go 3 of 7 from 3-point land, so he wasn't too bad. Clint Capella had a much better game 2 than he did in game 1. 14 points, 10 rebounds, so he got the double-double. Shot 5 of 7, which he's from the field goal, which he's pretty. Everybody knows he's pretty efficient. Somebody else who got a double-double was P.J. Tucker. 13 points, 10 rebounds, shot 3 of 5 from the threes. So again, he as well had a really good game. And then also Austin Rivers as well too. Austin Rivers has really been a key part of their offense, especially in the playoffs, especially in the first round and even the first 2 games as well too. He went 4 of 6 from shooting from 3-point land. So again, he had a really good game as well too. But the Warriors did have a better game, and they would end up getting the W. Kevin Durant had 29, Klay Thompson had 21, Steph Curry had 20, Iguodala had 16, Draymond Green had 15. Draymond Green really was a really good factor in this one. He had 15 and 11, so 15 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. So almost getting close to a triple-double. He did take 2 threes. One of them was like a half-court heave at the end of the buzzer, but he missed both of them, though, but shot 3 for 3 from free throw land. He had two steals, 38 minutes, so everybody had a lot of minutes in this game, 6 of 10 field goals, so he did not do that bad. Obviously, I think player of the game would be Kevin Durant in this situation. He got 29 points. There has not been anybody more consistent in the playoffs so far than Kevin Durant has. He had that 50-point game in round 1, and just as a whole, like last game as well too, he had a great game. This game he has 29. He doesn't have the best night shooting, 9 of 22, but that's okay. Hits 8 of 10 free throws, 3 of 6 from 3-point. Played 43 minutes again, and honestly, when you watch the last couple of minutes of the game or so, I mean, he's dripping in sweat, but like he looks like he's still like okay, like he's in perfect position, perfect conditioning to kind of keep on playing if they needed to. I don't even think he was winded. He was drenched in sweat, but he did not look that tired. He looked like he could keep balling for another quarter or two. Honestly, he looked fine. But yeah, he was probably the player of the game. He matched James Harden's points, but the Warriors did get the W tonight, 109-115. The Warriors do take a 2-game lead in this case. There will be a 3-day break before Game 3 happens at Houston. So again, we're going to recap that video as well and see if the Houston Rockets can bounce back. So as usual, guys, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know, do you think that Game 3, Houston comes out with a better game plan and can get a victory at Game 3? Or do you think that the Warriors have all the momentum right now and it's going to carry over to Game 3? As always, like I said, guys, go ahead and leave that in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.